Bear down, Bears fans. I'm going to give you the best free agents that the Chicago Bears could bring over from the Seahawks that could help Shane Waldron's system get implemented a little bit quicker here in Chicago, and that the Bears could utilize to help them offensively. And it starts right now. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talk Chicago sports, how Chicago talk. So make sure that you get in tune with us. Literally still over 50% of you guys, or I'm sorry, just under 50% of you guys are not subscribed. Would love to get that ratio to the point where we're getting 60-40 one way the other, but appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love nonetheless. Pay no attention to the wire-haired terrier just walking through the video like I'm not working here, but do want to give you guys the free agents that I believe that were already in Shane Waldron's system that actually could help the Chicago Bears moving forward. I think that this is something, when you look at kind of what the Bears are trying to build out here offensively, you want to have guys that are going to come in that already kind of know, okay, this is how the ropes go on this, that can teach that system to the players who are currently here. Not to say the Bears are starting from the bottom, because again, Shane Waldron coming from that same tree that Luke Getsy comes from as far as play calling, right? You're talking about that McVay-Shanahan tree. That's a tree that you kind of look at and go, okay, the calls are going to be similar. How you're going to utilize players and their role in the offense, I should say, for the most part, is going to be pretty similar, but it's about the positions that you put them in, how often you're utilizing them, different things like that. And I think there's a couple of players here that actually could help. The one for me that really stands out to start things off is Noah Fant for me. Noah Fant, I think he saw the same drop off that many of the Seahawks saw last season offensively. But when Seattle emphasized Noah Fant pretty much as a part of what their offense wanted to do, you could see some really, really good talent in his game when they did utilize him on a consistent basis. He was a guy who was averaging 12.9 yards per reception this season, but we kind of saw that tight end production fall off. I think that if Shane Waldron is to come in here and have some of the success that we saw him have in that 2022 season, where it looked like that Seattle offense was elite, you're going to need a guy like Noah Fant here, because yes, the production did drop off with him last season, but they ran a ton of 12 and 13 man personnel out in Seattle in 2022. And that was when that team was the most successful, giving the quarterback a ton of options over the middle. I think it allows your quarterback the ability to be able to go out there and consistently have a safety blanket. Noah Fant also improved his game as a blocker over the past couple of years while working with Shane Waldron, which is something that you needed to do because of the limited amount of tackles that you had out there in Seattle, the injuries that kept coming into play with that offensive line. That's something that we've dealt with here. So you want to see tight ends that can come in and kind of be able to give you the best of both worlds as far as blocking and pass catching. The issue with Noah Fant was never the fact that he couldn't catch passes. The issue with Noah Fant was the amount of times that he was going to get targeted in a game. You kind of saw him get looked to a little bit more towards the end of the season, but we just did not, or I'm sorry, toward the beginning of the season, but we just did not see enough of him actually getting the football thrown his way. But at 26 years old, he added in 414 yards last season, a second best in his career in 12.9 yards per reception. Did not tally a single touchdown, but Noah Fant's somebody that you know, right? But from his time in Denver, this guy has talent. He's a guy who in 2022 had 4 touchdowns, right? And pretty much every season before that has been a 3 to 4 touchdown guy. That's a guy that, yeah, if I'm bringing you in as a backup tight end, maybe as a low money move, I feel like the Chicago Bears could actually utilize him really well. He's the guy that if the ball is thrown his way, I feel confident that he's going to bring it in. And I think that the combination of him Cole Kmet, and I guess if you're holding on to Robert Tonyan in this scenario, right, if you want to run some solid 13 personnel, but I don't know if that's going to be the case here, just because the leadership that Mercedes Lewis brought, I feel like the Bears valued a lot. And I don't know if you're keeping 4 tight ends on your roster, right? So maybe you end up moving on for Robert Tonyan and using Mercedes Lewis a lot more. Maybe you end up trying to transition him kind of into that player coach role where he's on the practice squad, but he's always there. Like there's a lot of options you can do with that, but I think Noah Fant would be an excellent addition to what this Bears team is doing. I understand the underutilization of him possibly this last season, but if you're going to get back to the system that felt like it was the system that worked, if you're coming in where you feel like you've got your tackle questions answered, maybe you go get Joe Alt, maybe you go get Olu Fashanu, maybe right, like you got you've got Darnell Wright already in place. Tevin Jenkins, you would assume, is going to be there. Nate Davis hopefully is going to have that bounce back year. You're starting to feel better about that O-line. You can use Fant more in that passing game in that scenario. We'll see what it ends up being, but I really want to see, the Bears be able to run some of that stuff with those bigger guys, because it just, whether you go Justin Fields or you go Caleb Williams, it just makes life easier on a quarterback. If, guess what, I'm dropping back and there's a big body out there that I can utilize, or there's somebody down low that I can utilize, giving that quarterback as many options as possible. I feel like we saw that so much in 2022, but we didn't see enough of that from Shane Waldron in 2023. I want the 2022 Waldron here in Chicago coming into this season. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. Would you be interested in bringing in Noah Fant over from the Seattle Seahawks? He is probably, I would assume he's probably not going to end up getting re-signed there, but I would think that he would be somebody that maybe would be interested in, if you can rekindle that 2022 flame, coming over, because there's room for him to be tight end 2 on this team. Robert Tonyan is not locked in at tight end 2, right? So you've got Cole Kmet already in place. Can you be the second tight end on this team? I think there's a chance for that. I think he would be interesting to look at. The other person that really, and there's not a ton of offensive free agent talent out there from Seattle that I thought, really, you bring this guy over, he's going to be plugged in, he's going to work right away, boom, here we go. But the name that I thought that maybe you could look at just as a veteran presence, it doesn't mean that this addresses the position, but we are looking at the center. They do have a center available. Evan Brown is now available. He started all 16 games at the center position for the team. He played a role as a serviceable stopgap, basically, for them, right? He's 27 years old, but they just went out and they got Olu Watimi. Y'all know the African names be catching me up a little bit. Olu Watimi. He was a rookie last season. Saw him kind of get a little bit of run in there at the center position going towards the end. But I mean, being able to start pretty much every single game for that Seattle team, some health at the center position, I would say he's probably coming in a similar role already, like what we brought in Lucas Patrick at, but I would say he's maybe a little bit better than Lucas Patrick right now. I look at him as kind of a player who's able to go out there, one, consistently snapping the football well. The pass blocking game, I think, was probably my biggest concern with him. Not to say that it was horrid, it was god awful, but I feel like when I went back and watched a lot of Evan Brown tape, before making this video, that the pass blocking was the spot where I consistently went, I don't like that. Run blocking, he was able to push the ball forward. He was a guy that was really able to get after it. I thought in the screen game, he did a really good job helping to lead the way in a lot of those moments. Like he was just he's solid, right? He excuse me. He's not great. He's not a top 10 center in the NFL. He's solid, and I think you bring him here to Chicago very much in a situation the way you brought in him to Seattle with Olu Watimi. Remember, Evan Brown was a center in Detroit. I believe he was backup over there in Detroit, but he was a center in Detroit. You bring him in, felt like, okay, we've got a little bit of a stopgap here until we're ready to bring in our young center at this position, a guy who's also cross-trained, so can play multiple positions. Does feel like a Lucas Patrick situation. I'm not going to tell you that it doesn't, but if you're going into the draft drafting a rookie center, you need to know that you have some kind of answer at that position to start the season, no matter what. I don't know if you want to go into the season with just the rookie center on the roster. Maybe you bring Brown in here as an inexpensive one-year deal, very much like you did, right? The Seahawks may bring him back on that same thing, but with Oluwatimi already waiting in the wings, I would think that this is going to be the year where he gets his shot. Plus, Evan Brown, while still being, you could bring him back out there, right? He's easier as a salary cap trim piece than he is bringing him in and having him compete for that starting center position yet again. I think that he could be the odd man out. I think he's somebody the Bears should look at, not to say that he's the best option at center, but if you want to go out there and draft a young guy again, unless you feel like you're going to draft a guy and then maybe you get the training camp and he looks amazing and you dominate, fine. Then you got Evan Brown as a backup, which he's good at being a backup center. I guess we could still hold on to some of the guys that we have here as backup centers, but I think Cody White here is probably up out of here. I would say Lucas Patrick is probably going to meet the same fate. Yes, this does feel like a Lucas Patrick type of signing, but a veteran presence in at that center position, somebody that can add stability to that line, that can be good enough in the moment until maybe your young center develops enough for you to put him out there, or even just as a solid backup. If you draft the center and you get through training camp and through preseason and you go, yeah, he's the better option at center for us, start the rookie center. Like I said, I do want to know how you guys feel. Let me know in the comments below. Who do you believe the Chicago Bears should bring over that could help with this Shane Waldron offense? Maybe somebody from the Seahawks, maybe somebody that worked with Shane Waldron in the past that is on another team. If y'all say Russell Wilson, I will absolutely lose it. But I do want to know how you guys feel, man. Let me know. As always, it's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again to continue watching our Chicago Bears content. Make sure that you click the links on the screen, check the links in the description below, and tune in with us on the daily show Monday through Friday. We'll be live today at 6 p.m. talking Chicago Bears. As always, y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. One love. Bird on. Peace.